Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Garcia. I'm the Executive Director of the American LGBTQ Museum. Welcome to this program that we are sponsoring in partnership with the Alice Austen House Museum. We're so excited to be working together and with all of you in your GSAs. So I'd like to introduce Victoria Monroe, who's the Executive Director of the Alice Austen House Museum, to take it away.
Hi, everyone. I really hope that you enjoy today's program. The Alice Austen House is a nationally designated site of LGBTQ history, and we're located on the North Shore of Staten Island at a waterfront property, and it is the historic house of Alice Austen, who was a Victorian photographer, a lesbian woman who spent more than 30 years living at the house with her partner Gertrude Tate, and their relationship actually spanned 56 years. She was born in 1866, so this is pre-Stonewall history. And the things that we do at the Alice Austen House today to really preserve and bring her story and her photography to life is a whole range of different education programs, but one of our key programs is that we work with GSA students. We believe at the Alice Austen House that working with visual storytelling is a great way for us to explore our identity and talk about stories that are very, very important to us. So I thought that it would be an incredible resource if the GSA students that we worked with this year created a program especially for you. So that's for students across America. We want you to think about questions to ask each other, the freedoms that GSA programs give you, and the environment that they create for you in your schools. So today you're going to hear from several students on their GSA experience and the importance of visibility at public sites for LGBTQ people, plus the importance of LGBTQ-based programs in public schools. I'm just so thrilled to be here with Ben today. He's an amazing colleague, and we are so excited that the LGBTQ Museum will be opening in New York City, another space to explore your history.
Thanks so much, Victoria. We are so excited that over the next few years, we'll be developing our educational programs in partnership with institutions like the Alice Austen House Museum and other LGBTQ+ community centers, historical societies, and museums around the country. We have so much to learn from GSAs, and we are just so pleased to be able to co-present this program with you today. Victoria and I hope that all of you really enjoy the work that these amazing GSA students have put into this conversation that you'll be watching together. And we hope that you all have wonderful conversations as a result. So enjoy the program.
Hi, my name is Mia. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm an ally.
Hi, my name is Lily. I go by all pronouns, any pronouns, and I am Omni.
Hi, my name is Amanda. I go by she, her pronouns, and I am an ally to the Patrides GSA.
Hi, I'm Alejandro. I go by he, him, and I am an ally from the Michael J. Patrides GSA.
My name is Lexi. I use she, they, he pronouns. And my name is Snow. I use they, them pronouns.
And today we are here with the Alice Austen House filming a program with some GSAs on Staten Island that's going to discuss what GSA means to us, what we expect from GSAs, and the opportunities we believe GSAs can bring to us.
So to start off, what does GSA mean to you?
I guess GSA means like just having space to be there and just be normal, I guess, and with no one actually judging you, and you can just be in the safe space, completely content with who you are, whether you're figuring it out or you already know. Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. Personally, as someone who's my first year in GSA because I'm a freshman, I really use GSA as an outlet for me to get acquainted with a lot of different people, whether people that are like me, people that are not like me, and basically just expose myself to a world of a lot of welcoming and accepting people.
To me, it means everyone coming together, a safe space where you can be yourself and everything. I have a lot of friends who are also different sexualities and everything, LGBTQ, and it's really cool talking with them and having their experiences, because before when I was 13 I was just learning what this was, and I know a lot of people out there are kind of jerks when it comes to this, but I wanted to learn more about it, so I questioned my mom about it. My mom told me a lot, and that's how I learned about what everything was. And my mom and my sister, they also go to a bunch of different Pride Fests and everything. It's really cool, and I really hope to go too.
I basically get to help people within the LGBTQ community, and it means a lot to me because I have a majority of my friends that are part of that community, and my older sibling is also a part of that community, so I want to be there to support and help in any way, shape, or form that I can.
Okay, so Snow, what does GSA mean to you?
Well, specifically the GSA, where I'm from, it's a family place where you know people who are basically some of the closest people you're ever going to meet in your 4 years of high school to however long you're going to be there for. It's people that you can trust, advisors that you can go to, and just an overall setting of just positivity in those who look out for each other and want to support each other, who all have a similar thing at heart, that they are not always understood by society, but there are people who are like them and that they will love them unconditionally.
GSAs for me, specifically at my school, I know that our GSA is very welcoming, and it's kind of a culmination of all the clubs at our school. There's D&D at our club at our school, and there's gardening club, and there's also our GSA, and all those same kids are in our GSA, and it feels like a family, and you can talk about pretty much anything you want to, even if it's not about queer experiences, and it just feels like a home. And in my senior year, I didn't think I would find that after being in quarantine for so long, but having that home and having people to support you if you don't get that support at home, or your friend group, you're not out to them, it definitely feels nice and cozy there.
Very cozy.
How did you find out about the GSA in your school?
At my school, we had a large club fair, and I was walking around and I saw a booth for that. It said come join GSA, and I was I walked up to it and they had all these little cute pronoun stickers, and I was I need to be a part of this. So I signed myself up immediately, and I got the Google Classroom code, and it's kind of just taken off from there. What about you?
Oh, kind of the same thing. We had, so in the hallway that leads to outside during lunch, everyone was crowding the hallway for different clubs and sports teams and stuff. So me and my friends went to the hallway trying to go outside like normal, and we saw a thing for LGBTQ plus club, so we signed up, and it was the class, and then the Google Classroom code, and by the end of a week or so, we were in the club, and it was the GSA.
How did you find out about your GSA?
I guess it started when we were signing up for the clubs in the hallway on our way to lunch. Yeah, I was just oh, hey, okay. And then I signed my name on the paper, and then we waited for the clubs to actually start. I was just oh my God, yay! And then we started doing the whole program, and that's when I found out about it. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's very awesome, I remember that.
It was very crowded in those hallways.
I know, like a ton of people and a ton of awards. It felt like
I did not like it.
it felt like I was at a convention or something. Like people were
Like Comic-Con?
pretty much, yes, but like with less people because Comic-Con has like a ton of people.
Oh
everywhere.
God.
How do you find out about Petrides GSA?
Okay. All right. So I found out about my GSA at Petrides through posters on the wall, and at our school we do an activities fair, and that fair shows you all of the clubs, activities, and sports that are possible. And one of my friends was in charge of doing the GSA board. And the board was very simple, but as people passed by, seeing so many people sign and so many people that are around our school that I knew would accept me and my friends and would be a nice community for me, it was very enlightening and relieving, especially because I've had experiences with people that aren't the nicest at my school, but that's given anywhere. But these kids, seeing them, it felt nice, and I was inclined to go to my GSA. So how did you find out about your GSA?
I found out about my GSA actually through my dad. Because my dad, he works at my school, so what happened was, when I came out to him, because he knew I always liked just everybody in general, he knew I really didn't have a preference. He was like, I think because he wanted me to meet the theater teachers, and he said something about how one of the theater teachers used to run the GSA. He introduced me to GSA, and then I just wound up going once because I was like, oh, my old school never had a GSA, so I was like, you know what, let's try this out. I had no idea what was in the store. So I just kind of showed up to one meeting over Zoom, and I met Julia and Miss Pugliese.
Through GSA, my entire experience has more so been, again, to get acquainted with a lot of like other genders, a lot of sexualities, get acquainted with like a whole bunch of different people, their style of dressing, and the way they like to present themselves. So overall, I'd say my impact and like my acquaintance with GSA has been entirely positive. I haven't really experienced a negative thus far, and I don't think I will because I honestly love it.
Experience with GSA, I'd say pretty normal and standard to a normal club, because it's just like any good club. It's a English. Thank you. Like any normal club, it's a safe space where you can go and you can just exist. And so my experience is just going there, making friends, and being accepted, whether straight, not straight, gender conforming, not gender conforming, either one.
Being part of the LGBTQ+ community is definitely something very different, but being around people that are like you is very, very supportive. And just developing and discovering my sexuality and what I identify as, and in general, it is a very complicated thing for a lot of people. But when you surround yourself with people that are like you, that can support you and help guide you through this experience because either they've gone through it or they just want to be there for you as a friend or an ally, it is an amazing experience. And I feel like all youth should have that space, and being in GSAs brings you that space.
But on the other hand, it's really cool to promote everything for this, because it's really a nice community.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice people in this community, and it sucks when they get hurt because people are judgy.
Do you think it is important for queer students to have visibilities in their school?
10,000,000% yes, it very much is, because what we're used to is a heteronormative of just straight cis people who are just seen as that's the only thing you can have in society, as in life, in schools, as in Mr. and Mrs., Miss, and that there's no other things that you can possibly be, and that there's only this one thing or this two things that you are, and that all the other stuff just doesn't exist, because you need the other stuff, especially in school settings, because that's where children learn. That's where you learn everything from a young age, from when you're really little to even when you're in your 20s in college. It's important to learn all this stuff because what you learn there is what you keep for the rest of your life, because you learn about LGBTQ+ outside of school or just by the by, but it should be taught in school because it's just as normal, just as human as anything else, and that we should be integrating, I believe the word I'm trying to use is, these actual more things that should be normalized, like using mix for when it comes to gender neutral teachers, talking about parents with two dads, 2 moms, 3 parents, a polyamorous relationship, monogamy, asexuality, aromanticism, and many others that should be known in school, to know that you just don't need to be this one cardboard cutout.
I personally feel like students and even younger children, anybody should be involved in the things that are there for them. So that again is why I feel like the educational system is definitely flawed, because it's always the adults telling the students what they need to do rather than the students being like, hey, this is what works for me. Can we kind of integrate that into the way we learn, into our curriculum? And that goes for activities and events too. Like if the students want to do something, then the teacher or the adults, the administration should be like, hey, that's a good idea, or hey, that's not a good idea, or you know what, let's work on this. Let's put together something that works for you and me and what we have to do as a unit. And it makes sure that the kids are not only learning, but they're having fun and they're engaging with other students that are just like them. You wouldn't be able to have GSAs meeting up with each other. Like, I don't go to the same school as Snow and they don't go to the same school as me, but we're here because you guys listen to us and you guys want to put things together for us so that we can have these experiences and just, yeah, do better and explore ourselves. And I feel like as a young adult, the biggest aspect of becoming who you are is having alternative opinions and seeing other people and how they react to things. Like if it weren't for like my friend going through something, I might not have understood something about myself. So being able to branch out and being able to understand things and having that healthy relationship between the adult and the student or the child is very important.
I think it's so important that we have like people like here that we can, like whether here or in our schools, that we can like meet up with and like actually like talk about our experiences and like share our stories, because you know everyone's been through something different, and like no matter what it is, we're all like still human, we're all still part of the same community, and like through those experiences, we, as like sad as it sounds, like we have to stick together because a lot of people like
don't accept.
Yeah, or like shun it like they used to.
Yeah, and the Alice Austen House, like you said, is an excellent example of that.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly feels really cool. Like I remember I was here when I was 10, but I didn't really remember much. Like I was just like here like before everything else was here, like a bunch of 10-year-olds just on some furniture and stuff, and just like going outside, running around. But now that I'm here now, like 6 years later, it feels like I'm like a
general idea what LGBTQ plus is.
Yeah, and it feels like a very like, I don't know how to say it, like you're just like a regular person going into like Broadway and stuff like that. You're going to like on the red carpet pretty much. It just feels really famous like being here.
Red carpet premiere.
Yes, it really does.
To be honest, my class that I went with a long time ago, they were incredibly homophobic and they did not like me for being the form of queer that I am. So now knowing that this was a trip that my school planned every year and that the kids in my class love to look forward to, it's kind of a feeling of like bliss, knowing that like this place has always been a safe place for me in specific, and that I know that there was always something rooted in here that I always loved. I feel like, because little me when I was younger always knew about LGBTQ+, because of my mom's friends and friends, my dad's friends, just some people in general that I knew in my life. So it probably wouldn't like changed me that much, but it probably would have like opened my eyes much wider before when I realized. And I probably would have just either just gotten the realization that I'm queer earlier on in life than just trying to prolong it and be in denial.
I feel like this being a place that students can come to on school trips or in any other circumstance just to visit the museum is very important, because as like an elementary school student, you're just learning about yourself, you're just developing your first memories at that young age, and coming to somewhere like this, and if you feel like that inside, you don't want to talk about it because you're afraid, coming here and knowing that Alice was a queer icon and that this place is part of LGBTQ plus history would definitely open up and tell that kid that, you know, it's okay, you are loved, you are wanted, and you are who you are, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. You can be whoever you want to be, and this place is here. Proof that you can and that people can still do things, because her artwork and her photography is renowned and she has her own museum. Like, you as an LGBTQ plus person can make a difference, you can be successful. And having a young student come here and see a successful queer person is like amazing. And seeing that, you know, that could be me later on in life. That is extremely important, and I know younger me needed to see that, because sometimes you just hide things that are inevitable, that are going to come out at any point in time, and having that support, even if it's not like a family member directly there with you, like, it's something, and sometimes all people need is that little bit of something.
That was beautiful. Go, Lexi!
I'm open to learning about like any more about this, because it's really awesome. Like what I've learned so far, everything, like knowing like a ton about it, because my mom is also an ally, so it's really cool, like learning about different people and everything, and just befriending them. It's awesome.
Yeah, I would love to absolutely learn more and see more about this community, because it's really great and nice, and all of the people here are just really supportive and loving, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, they feel like family. They're awesome.
Yeah, of course I would love to see more representation of LGBTQ plus people in museums and in history in general. How do I phrase this?
I just think it's like a huge step that we've taken, because before, like, she wasn't, like, in specific, Alice Austen, like, wasn't seen as like a queer person, and because she's like no longer closeted, I feel like now the LGBTQ community has like a larger like outreach, because now you actually have like accidental activists that are like going into history and like molding themselves as kind of like a "we've always been here" type thing, and it really like gives you a sense of like belonging, that this isn't just something that like sprung up, it's always like been here. We've kind of just embraced it and developed it over time.
That is amazing and beautiful, and I could never say it as good as you did.
Thank you.
I'd say yes. I have no idea how the treaties runs their GSA, but I'm going to safely assume, please cut me off if I'm wrong, that you guys are very student-led.
Yeah, 100%. At our school, the things that we do, it's our advisors finding things and being like, do you guys want to do this? Is this okay with you? Or students bringing something and being like, is this what you want to do? Like, this is not GSA related, but in the school newspaper, if a student wants to write an article, they could bring it to the advisor, and the advisor could either say, this is not school appropriate, this is school appropriate, and you can write that. That is very much applicable to all the clubs at our school, especially the GSA, because doing this Alice Austen project was something that our advisors brought to us and were like, is this something you guys are interested in? Like, are you interested in branching out in this direction, or do you want to do something else? And the students were like, yes, like this is something that we would love to do. It's different. We've never been here before for a majority of the students, or it's just an experience that we would love to have, and that is very much reliant on the good communication that the advisors have with us students.
Very similar to what Lexi was saying, how it is very student-run, how the advisor brings something. I agree, because I've been actually coming to the Alice Austen House since I was little. I've been here maybe like 3-4 times on field trips, I believe. I might be wrong, but she brought it to us and I recognized the place, and when I learned that it has LGBTQ plus history and that I always knew I was some form of LGBTQ plus, I was incredibly excited. And knowing that there is certain factors and little portions that just like get brought in, like ideas, like we're setting up a little pride celebration currently at Tottenville, and I was bringing it up, GSA, because I'm one of the leaders there, because I'm the vice president. I was helping make decisions, asking everyone, being like, what do you want to do for Pride? Like, what should we do? What should we put in the lesson? And some jazz to, like, you know, make it actually LGBTQ plus friendly and that we actually genuinely have a voice in it.
When I started high school, I was like very like alone and stuff. Because I was in 8th grade before I knew like every grade before that. They were really cool people, and it just feels weird having to start over. And then my 9th grade year turned into the pandemic and everything, so I didn't really have a chance to like go through high school. And then I came back. Now I'm back in 11th grade, so I'm trying to make the most out of anything I can. So it really pushes me out of my comfort zone and makes me like an extrovert type of person. It's really nice. I like it.
Yeah, I'm an extrovert around you guys, but anywhere else, no.
I'm the same way. But I gotta be comfortable with people, and I must find my people to be comfortable around.
It's like when you meet an animal for the first time and you let them sniff your hand.
Again, being a teenager on Staten Island, I don't know that we have a lot of like isolation, because again, we have like the ferry or like transportation, but like again, with like a lot of the stigmas and stereotypes, it can make someone feel very isolated. Like if you take it in a more emotional sense than you took it in a physical sense of like the difference between like transportation and stigmas, two very different things.
Yeah. I love learning about other people and other people's experiences. Like that's just something that I like to do. And being able to see other people who experience things that are similar to me or might be completely different is just awesome. And like having that representation in our own city, great.
I feel we deserve our own photo. I feel like Lexi and I deserve our own photos in the museum after doing this. Like we need a little section just like the day that Patrides and Tottenville came together and made
When worlds collide.
Made a gay alliance. But yes, very much so. I would like to see more places, because with the stumbling thing, it's always an accident. You never really on purpose find any of these LGBTQ plus friendly locations. Like it's always just like, oh, like I'm trying to get some pizza. Then you find this like tea shop that's run by like a pair of like bisexuals. And
it's like, wow, you guys are like me. Like it's such a cool experience, and like sometimes
and then you meet queer people like out in the real world.
And it's like you can have friends that are cishet, but having queer friends feels different, because it's like you're like me, and I can talk about certain things that you understand that I might not be able to talk about with other people. And just on an additional note, seeing people that have that little sticker on their windows in the city that's like, you know, LGBTQ plus friendly is something that is just so comforting, because you never know, you might walk in there and dressing like really masked for the day, and they'll just be like, no, but like you're a woman, and you're just like, no, that's not me, or well, yes, but I feel like this today, and you shouldn't judge me because of the way I'm dressing. So being able to go into those places and know that the people in there are going to support you because they're allies or they're like you, it's very, very comforting and feels just like being in a GSA at your school.
If I had another thing to share with a GSA student, or honestly any ally or queer person out there, period, it would probably be something like, you are absolutely valid in your gender, in your sexuality, and though people, no matter who they are, queer or not, can be really mean, they can gatekeep, they can be transphobic, they can be homophobic, but that doesn't mean, that shouldn't stop you, because either way, you are absolutely valid. And it is totally okay. And even if you are not in the best space, best mind space, near the best people, things do get better. And I'm talking from experience. I know it can sound absolutely cringy and like, oh, they don't know what I'm going through. No, I absolutely do. And it is okay. And everything will be okay. May not be entirely soon, but it will. And I can guarantee you that.
One thing I would say to another GSA student watching today is that, you know, you're represented no matter where you are. There will be someone that is just like you. You could be standing next to someone right now that is just like you, that's afraid, and you might be afraid. But at some point in your life, you will be able to be exactly who you want to be. wherever you are. And that is a hope for me, and I know a lot of queer people, is to go places and feel safe and feel like, you know, I can be myself and other people aren't gonna judge me. Like, that is the future, and you being in a GSA right now is enabling that to be the future.
One thing I would say to a little GSA member is, first off, hi, I love you. Don't be afraid to be who you are, because you are your true, authentic self. That is something nobody can ever take away from you, no matter what they ever try. You are who you are. Nothing made you this way. You were born this way because you are beautiful exactly you are. And I would say do it at whatever pace or level you are. The most important thing, if you ever know who you are, is safe. As long as you know who you are, where you are, and as long as you feel you are safe enough and that you have your support group to help you get through everything, then everything's going to work out in the end. It's going to be lots of ups and downs and lots of rocky paths and lots of hatred, but soon, hopefully one day in the future, with many LGBTQ+ people and allies fighting and joining each other,
you'll get there.
We'll get there eventually, and we'll be able to have the life of freedom and not be afraid to hide who we are and just be us.